If the world ended tomorrow, billionaires might already be ready. Mark Zuckerberg has an underground bunker in Hawaii. Tech elites have bought remote apocalypse properties, and the ultra-rich can spend hundreds of millions building underground fortresses. So, what do they know that we don't? We're talking secret tunnels, nuclear-resistant structures, underground supercar garages, and luxury bunkers nicer than most mansions. From relatively basic shelters to insane underground fortresses, this is the Billionaire Bunker tier list. And we're starting with Zuckerberg because somehow his bunker might not even make S tier. Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg has spent hundreds of millions of dollars assembling roughly 1,400 acres of land in Hawaii. That's around 1,000 football fields. The property, known as Kō'ula Ranch, reportedly includes 2 mansions, numerous other buildings, agriculture, and its own water infrastructure. But the interesting part is underneath it. Reported plans describe an underground shelter of roughly 5,000 square feet connected to the main residences by tunnel, with living and mechanical spaces, an escape hatch, and a heavy-duty door. So if civilization collapses, Mark doesn't even have to leave Hawaii. He just goes downstairs. And because the property has extensive land, agriculture, and water infrastructure, the wider compound has elements of self-sufficiency. While we're fighting over the last tin of beans, Zuckerberg could be farming in Hawaii. Pretty impressive. But compared with what's coming? A tier. Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin potentially has access to a completely different level of bunker. Russia has spent decades developing hardened underground infrastructure intended to keep government and military leadership functioning during major emergencies. Putin has also been linked in public reporting to highly secured residences and underground facilities, although many of the craziest details aren't independently verified. Which makes sense. If your secret bunker has a Google Maps listing, you probably need a new secret bunker. One of the most famous properties associated with Putin is the enormous Black Sea estate commonly called Putin's Palace, although ownership has been disputed. But when you're the leader of a nuclear power, the interesting real estate isn't necessarily above ground. It's underneath it. S tier. The survival condo. Someone took an old missile silo in Kansas and converted it into luxury apartments. It's called the survival condo. And it might be the only apartment building where having no windows actually increases the value. The facility has been marketed with luxury residences, food storage, water systems, independent power, security, and recreational facilities. Some units have cost millions. Imagine the apocalypse happening upstairs while you're underground asking whether the swimming pool closes at 10. The biggest advantage is the structure itself. This wasn't a mansion where somebody reinforced the basement. It's a converted missile silo. Normal day, terrible view. Nuclear apocalypse, S tier. Bill Gates. Bill Gates owns an enormous Washington estate, commonly known as Xanadu 2.0. Huge swimming pool, massive private library, technology throughout the property. There's even reportedly imported sand for the waterfront. Imagine becoming so rich you start upgrading sand. But despite all the bunker stories online, detailed public evidence of some enormous Bill Gates doomsday fortress is limited. And we're ranking actual bunker credentials, not Facebook posts your uncle shared. Massive, secure billionaire estate? Absolutely. Nuclear missile silo? No. B tier. Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison came up with a different solution. Why build a bunker when you can buy most of an island? In 2012, the Oracle co-founder purchased roughly 98% of Lanai in Hawaii. That's not real estate. That's a GTA map. Ellison has invested heavily in the island, including projects involving agriculture and sustainability. And from a survival perspective, it's pretty strong. Huge amounts of land, infrastructure, agricultural potential, and one enormous ocean separating you from everybody else. The only issue is, you're still on an island. If something important breaks, next day delivery might become next year delivery. Still, A tier. Silicon Valley's escape plan. And apparently Hawaii isn't far enough away for everyone. For years, New Zealand has attracted attention from wealthy people looking for remote properties and potential survival locations. It's isolated, relatively stable, and has huge amounts of open land. Basically perfect if your emergency plan is leave. Reports over the years have described wealthy Silicon Valley figures considering New Zealand as a potential escape destination, which is pretty ironic. Spend your career creating technology that connects everybody, then spend your fortune trying to get as far away from everybody as possible. There's just one problem. You need to actually get there before everything goes wrong. So unless the bunker includes a private jet, B tier. The Oppidum. Now Zuckerberg's bunker starts looking cheap. Luxury bunker developers such as Oppidum have marketed underground residences toward extremely wealthy clients. And these aren't normal bunkers. They're basically 5-star hotels buried underground. Depending on the project, concepts can include huge living areas, swimming pools, spas, galleries, and entertainment rooms, alongside serious survival infrastructure. Independent air, water, power, security. Outside, civilization has collapsed. Inside, sir, your massage is at 4. At this point, you're not surviving the apocalypse. You're avoiding it. S tier. The billionaire bunker business. And there's an entire industry dedicated to building this stuff. At the high end, private shelters can potentially include independent electricity, water purification, medical facilities, food storage, communications, and underground vehicle storage. That's right. Your Bugatti can survive too. Thank God. Imagine spending $3 million on a hypercar and then letting the apocalypse scratch the paint. But here's where billionaire maths gets ridiculous. If someone worth $50 billion spends $100 million on a bunker, that's only 0.2% of their wealth. For someone worth $100,000, that's like spending $200. Except your $200 doesn't buy you a blast door and underground swimming pool. S tier. Elon Musk. And then there's Elon Musk. While other billionaires were buying islands and digging into mountains, Elon announced in 2020 that he was selling almost all physical possessions. And he actually sold multiple California properties. He's since publicly discussed living in a comparatively modest home in Texas. So if the apocalypse happens, Zuckerberg goes underground. Ellison goes to his island. The survival condo closes the blast doors. And Elon walks toward a rocket. Honestly, that's exactly how I'd expect this movie to end. Until there's a bunker on Mars. F tier. The $500 million bunker. But now imagine money genuinely doesn't matter. What does the ultimate billionaire bunker look like? Start with thousands of acres of remote land. Put a beautiful mansion on top. Then underneath it, build another mansion nobody can see. Independent electricity, backup generators, private water, air filtration, years of food, indoor agriculture, medical facilities, satellite communications, multiple escape routes, security, and obviously, an enormous underground garage filled with supercars, because apparently the Bugatti needs to survive too. Then add the billionaire essentials: swimming pool, cinema, gym, wine cellar. At that point, the mansion above ground isn't your house, it's the entrance. At the absolute extreme end, a custom compound with enough scale and luxury could theoretically run into the hundreds of millions. Which sounds insane until you look at billionaire wealth. If you're worth $100 billion, spending $500 million is only 0.5% of your fortune. For someone worth $100,000, that's equivalent to spending $500. My $500 gets me a PlayStation. Their $500 million gets them a backup civilization. Strongest S tier. Final ranking. So who's winning the billionaire apocalypse? Elon gets F tier, unless Mars works. Bill Gates and the remote escape plan sit around B tier. Larry Ellison and Zuckerberg get A tier. But S tier belongs to the purpose-built underground fortresses. The survival condo. Government-grade hardened facilities. And the ridiculous luxury bunkers designed to keep functioning when everything outside doesn't. Which leaves one question. Why are so many extremely wealthy people interested in having somewhere to disappear? Maybe it's just insurance. When you've already bought the mansion, yacht, jet, and private island, maybe an underground fortress is simply next on the shopping list. Or maybe they know something we don't. Either way, if the world ends tomorrow, I'm heading straight to Zuckerberg's house. Although judging by his security, I'm probably not making it past the front gate. Comment which bunker you'd choose if money didn't matter. And if you made it this far, hit subscribe and like, and I'll see you in the next one.